My name's Kyle, and this happened last summer, mid-July. I was home from college just trying to enjoy the break before my next semester started. My two closest friends, Jason and Marcus, and I wanted to do something together, like we used to back in high school. We all go to different colleges now, so it's rare we get time like this. We planned a weekend beach trip to Ocean City, Maryland. Jason's family has a small beach house there, and he got permission for us to stay. It was just what we needed. Time to relax, party, and catch up. We drove down on a hot Friday afternoon, the kind of heat that sticks to your skin. The second we got into town, it smelled like sunscreen and salt water. We walked the boardwalk, messed around in the arcades, and watched people. The beach was packed with families, kids, lifeguards yelling. It felt like a normal summer day full of noise and sunlight. Later that night, we grilled burgers, had drinks, and played games. By midnight, we were drunk, bored, and someone, maybe Marcus, said we should go back to the beach at night. Something about the ocean in the dark always pulls you in. It's quiet, empty, and strange. We grabbed hoodies, a flashlight, and headed out. No plans to swim, just walk and hang out by the water. We took the steps down from the boardwalk. The beach was nearly deserted, just the sound of waves and a bit of moonlight. We walked along the edge of the surf, letting the cold water hit our feet. We joked, talked, and wandered until we stopped near an old lifeguard tower laid in the sand and looked up at the sky. That's when Jason sat up and pointed, saying, "Is that someone walking over there?" We all looked and saw a shadow, a dark figure walking stiffly near the edge of the water. It was far, maybe 50 or 60 yards away, but even then it looked off. The way they moved, slow, stiff, mechanical, like they weren't even trying to look normal. Their arms didn't swing, their head was tilted down, as if scanning the sand. We tried to ignore it, but something felt wrong.
They stopped walking, just stood still now, closer, about 30 yards away. None of us said much. We didn't shine the light, just watched. Marcus whispered, "Who just stands like that?" Then Jason said something that made my stomach twist. He said, "He's not just standing, he's looking at you, Kyle." I laughed nervously, but Jason insisted. "His head is tilted at you." Jason turned on the flashlight, pointed it toward the figure. Just for a second before the battery flickered and died. But it was enough. We saw him. Pale gray, no shirt, wet jeans, arms limp, head tilted at a strange angle, and wide, bulging eyes. And the second the light hit him, he moved. He launched into a full sprint straight at us. No hesitation, no warning, like he was waiting to be seen. The way he moved wasn't right. It was fast, too fast, like he skipped the buildup and just exploded forward. All three of us screamed and ran through the sand, hearts pounding, lungs burning. We didn't look back. We didn't stop until we reached the boardwalk and the street behind it. Then we turned around. The beach was empty, completely silent. Not even footprints behind us. Just the waves crashing like nothing happened. We stood frozen, confused, afraid to say anything out loud. We walked back quietly, locked the door shut, the windows, pulled the blinds, and sat in silence until sunrise. None of us could sleep. I kept expecting to see him at the window or hear tapping, but the night stayed quiet. We tried laughing it off in the morning. Maybe it was a prank or a crazy guy, but none of us believed it, deep down. We stayed one more night, but didn't go outside, left early the next morning. Weeks passed, and we tried to forget, until Jason texted me saying he kept having the same dream. The guy standing in the corner of his room, soaking wet, not moving, not talking, just staring. I had the same dream, but didn't tell him. Sometimes I hear wet footsteps in the hallway, but nothing's ever there. Almost a year later, I was scrolling through a Facebook group. Someone posted a blurry photo taken at the beach at night and wrote, "Does anyone know who this creepy guy is?" I clicked it, and my blood ran cold. Same pale skin, same posture, standing by the water. Dozens of comments said they'd seen him too. Some said he stood there for hours. One person said they watched him walk into the ocean and never come back. Another found wet footprints on their back porch, but no trail leading to or from them. I don't know what we saw that night. I don't know who or what he is, but I'll never go back to that beach at night again. Not ever.
I grew up in Massachusetts, and every summer since I could remember, I would spend the 3 months in a classic coastal New England town. You know the type, if you've ever been in that area of the country. I had a big group of friends who always did the same thing, and we would get up to all kinds of shenanigans every day after our respective jobs. I was 19 years old when this happened. Like most of my friends, I had just gotten off a dockboy job, so like any other night, I texted my friends what the plan was and picked up my friend, who I'll call Emerson, from his job, to go get alcohol, since he was the one with a fake ID. We got the alcohol and went back to the small town where we lived. We decided to get on my family's boat that I was able to take out on my own to have some beers while we waited for everyone else to finish what they were doing. We drove around the little peninsula to this place where a lot of people anchor and hang out. There were already a couple of boats anchored, and it was about 7 p.m., but still not unusual. We found a spot between the two boats, threw the anchor down, and just chilled and drank. We were having a nice time listening to music from the boat to our left when the one on our right decided to leave, and then eventually the other boat's music shut off too. We thought they were going to leave as well, so Emerson and I, in our new drunken state, began to groan and yell and shout to turn the music back on to keep the party going, and a bunch of other stupid stuff. But it didn't happen. We were sitting on the bow and started to drink again, before Emerson said, "Dude, look." I turned around and saw 3 people standing on the edge of their boat, just staring at us. My first reaction was to laugh, because I was drunk. And then I turned back around, but Emerson kept staring at them and looked really uncomfortable. I told him not to worry, probably just curious people, but he kept watching them. It was pretty dark by now, nothing lighting the area but the lights from their boat, so you couldn't see faces, just their silhouettes. After a couple of minutes of trying to distract Emerson, I turned back and saw them, still in the same position, staring. I thought it was a joke, so I grabbed the megaphone and said, "22 watch, fellas," which pissed Emerson off, because he knew something was wrong. I was putting the megaphone back when I heard one of them laugh. It was a man, but it sounded wrong. It was slow, low, and raspy, like it was made of smoke or something. And that's when my stomach twisted and I started to feel weird. Emerson stood up and said, "Let's get the hell out of here, bro, this ain't right." But I still laughed and told him we were fine. Right after that, we heard 2 splashes in the water coming from their direction, and now only 1 silhouette remained on the boat. Emerson instantly started pulling the anchor while I laughed like an idiot, still holding my beer and not noticing the sound of swimming in the water around our boat. Emerson looked at me with the anchor in his hands and I stopped laughing. We couldn't see anything in the water because it was dark and their lights were off. I called out, "Hello?" and got nothing. Even the splashing had stopped. It was dead silent. Then Emerson yelled and I heard a splash behind me. I turned and saw someone trying to climb up onto the back of our boat. I freaked out, turned the key and saw a hand grab the railing near Emerson, who was holding the anchor like a weapon. I finally got the boat on and gunned it forward, smashing right into the sandbar that was in front of us. I put it in reverse and sped backward into open water, then threw it in neutral and looked at Emerson, who was just staring at me in disbelief. He started yelling, "I told you so," and called me an idiot, which I fully agreed with. We decided to go back, but for some reason, instead of going straight home, we started picking up things thrown around during the escape. We didn't finish before I saw lights coming from the direction we just fled, and they were coming fast.
I said, "No way," and jumped back to the wheel and pushed full throttle. But our boat is old and slow, and they were gaining fast. Emerson started freaking out, asking, "Who are these guys? What do they want? Why won't they let us chill?" And I told him to calm down and focused on getting to the dock. After 5 minutes, the docks were finally in sight. But the other boat was so close, I could see its bow rising and falling in the waves. I didn't know what to do, so I made a hard left and got as close to the shore as I could without beaching. And somehow the other boat peeled off and disappeared in the opposite direction. We let out a breath of relief, but I still pushed full speed to the docks. After docking, we saw there was no damage to the boat, and then we met our friends and told them everything. We had theories. Maybe they wanted to rob us or steal the boat. We didn't recognize them, and they probably weren't locals. I don't like to think about what would have happened if Emerson hadn't been there, if he hadn't kept watching, if we hadn't escaped. I know one thing. I'm thankful for him being there.
Because without him, I honestly don't think I'd be here telling this story.
I once met this dude named Matt. When I was out with friends at a bar one summer, I was with a big group, and Matt and I made friends at the bar, vibing over the Cubs game that was on. My group kind of drifted away as I kept talking with Matt, so it wasn't like he really met any of my friends. We exchanged Instagrams, and he had a decent amount of followers. His pictures looked totally normal, just a guy in his 20s who likes going out, traveling, staying active. After that, we split up, and I went to find my friends. Honestly, you meet a guy at a bar and swap info, but you never really talk again once you're sober. That's just how it goes. The next day, Saturday, I went out again to a bar and restaurant for my friend Tyler's birthday. It was an outdoor spot by the water. I posted a story on Instagram of us singing for him, and after dinner we were all hanging outside when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned and it was Matt. He smiled, dabbed me up, and said this was his favorite Saturday night spot. I introduced him, more officially this time, said, "You guys remember Matt?" Even if they didn't talk to him, they had at least seen him the night before. Matt stuck around, and since everyone was drunk, it was fine. He blended in with the group kind of easily. The next time I saw Matt was when he invited me golfing. It was a super hot day, and honestly, I suck at golf, but I want to get better, so when he invited me early Sunday morning, I went. It was just him and me. I tried to get some other friends to come, but they were too hungover. We played 9 holes for like 2 hours, then got food, and I went home to chill before work. I saw Matt one more time out, and then he invited me on a hiking trip to Arizona. I had always wanted to see the Grand Canyon, and the trip dates worked with my schedule, so I said yes right away. I asked Tyler and some friends to come, but they all said no. Said they couldn't take off or needed to save money. I asked Matt if any of his friends were going, and he said nah. He was going solo. I hadn't met any of his boys yet, but his Instagram made him seem super social, so I didn't think anything of it. We flew out on August 15th, and our return flight was August 18th. We landed at night. Matt rented a car, and we stopped for food and drinks on the way to the Airbnb. It was pretty late by the time we got there, and we had a couple beers. I was tired and ready to crash, but then I realized there was only one bed in the Airbnb. I never asked how many rooms it had. When I brought it up, Matt pointed to the couch I was sitting on and said it was a pull-out couch. Then he said relax and that he wasn't even charging me for the stay. So I pulled out the couch, made the bed, and crashed. It was surprisingly comfortable. In the middle of the night, I woke up and saw Matt walking from the living room to the kitchen to get water. I'm a light sleeper, so even small sounds wake me. I rolled back over and went to sleep. Next morning, Matt woke me up early. It was a clear, sunny day, and we drove straight to the Grand Canyon. I didn't realize how massive it was, or how many trails there were. We hiked the Bright Angel, and it was brutal. I was sweating and breathing heavy, while Matt looked fine. He kept laughing, telling me to keep up. We took breaks and got amazing pictures. It was seriously beautiful. After about 2 or 3 hours, we got back to the car, stopped by a deli on the way home, grabbed food, then took a nap back at the Airbnb. After that, we explored Phoenix, and in true Matt fashion, we drank at multiple bars. We got really drunk that night. I think I got drunker, but Matt had just as many drinks as me. We left the rental car on the street and Ubered back to the Airbnb. I don't remember much, just Matt blasting music for a bit and me plugging my phone in next to the couch. I must have passed out sometime after that. That night I woke up randomly, probably a couple hours after falling asleep.
My bladder was about to explode. The end. This story has now come to an end. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more thrilling and interesting horror stories, then don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my channel. Thank you for watching my video.